So y'all, I'm gonna put up a thing here. In my experience, what happens with a lot of people in the music business is they go, I'm gonna put a whole bunch of money into Spotify ads where they play my song to people who don't pay for Spotify, and it's gonna make my song blow up. And I say to them, I've talked to thousands of people, and I've only spoken to one person that has ever worked with in my career. In general, I feel like it's the thing that makes the most sense that it would work that does not work. And what we've seen from a Business Insider report this week is that Spotify has decimated their department here with this, and the customer service is awful, and the reports are quite bad. What have y'all seen?
Wait, I want to clarify a few things. When you
Yep.
say decimated their department, you're talking about like their customer service
Yeah.
for the ads.
For specifically not Showcase Marquee, but the ads like where it plays like Snickers
The
really satisfies you when you're not
Spotify
signed on.
Ad Studio
Yeah.
Ad
specifically,
Studio,
right?
because there are two
Yeah.
different things. Artists,
Yes.
you have the artist ads, Marquee Showcase, and then you have the actual like brand ads.
Correct.
And you said the reports are they inaccurate?
As somebody who works in journalism, I talk like that. There's a report that says this, and that's how we don't get sued on this podcast.
I see. You're not
See-
well.
There are people saying that the
Me-
customer support is really, really bad.
Oh,
Well, I'm a data nerd, so when I hear report,
Allegedly.
I just think like ad reports. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think about like reporting. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Business Insider's reporting is saying that it's that they have basically, like many other services in music, have decimated their customer service to try to save costs, increase profitability, and there we have that it's gone even worse than usual.
Andrew, can you explain the difference between Spotify Ad Studio, Spotify Marquee, and Spotify Showcase?
Yeah, so Spotify Ad Studio is an ad platform. If you go to ads.spotify.com, you can run ads to free users on Spotify. So on the free plan of Spotify, people hear ads, right? Because they don't pay for the account. And the advertisers get to run those ads through Spotify Ad Studio. And you can even run music ads through there where you retarget fans of certain artists and show them your like 30-second audio ad and show them your music, and then they can click and go stream out your stuff. But it's only for free Spotify users. Spotify Marquee and Showcase are tools inside of Spotify for artists that both have barriers to entry, by the way. So you have to hit certain streaming thresholds to get access to these tools. And with Spotify Marquee Showcase, they are ads that show up in the mobile app inside of Spotify. They're either a pop-up marquee that when you open your phone to open the mobile app, you get a pop-up that's like, hey, this artist has new music, check it out. And it's only for music that's new in the last, I think it's like 21 days after release or something. And Spotify Showcase is like a banner ad that's on the homepage of the mobile app. And these ads run to both free and paid users of Spotify, the Spotify platform.
I can't speak for you all, but once upon a time, there was a moment where running actual music related ads on Ad Studio was very productive. And one day that just stopped being the case. So I haven't used it in years. So the Ad Studio side of it, I really don't know much about any longer.
I've spent maybe like, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500 in Spotify Ad Studio over the years. And honestly, I have never once had a campaign that I would have found to be worthwhile. And it's like on Meta, if you run a good campaign, you're getting like under 30 cents a conversion. Don't worry if you don't know what that means. Basically, it's just a person going to your streaming platform of choice. Spotify Ad Studio could be something like $3 per listener, for example.
Yeah,
And a good one would be like $1. And I've seen some people say that they've gotten it down to be better, but
it used to be bananas. We used to,
yeah.
I don't know what changed, but we used to drive crazy listeners with it.
Well, there's a couple
You-
things to keep in mind that are like the issues with Spotify ads. I was just pulling up the stat on ChatGPT, so let's just.
Oh, great. The perfect thing to fact check with. Great.
Well, it cited eMarketer. I used my prompts to ask for links, Jesse, okay? But according to what I've read, and this would track, is like 54% of Spotify users in the US are premium users. So first of all, the majority of users are premium users. Those people represent the vast bulk of Spotify streaming, because if you don't have a paid Spotify account, the service just sucks. So you're trying to buy ads on a relatively
Yeah.
small chunk of listening hours, right? Because those people, the non-paid people are probably using other platforms, first of all. So that's important to realize. The other important thing to realize is that that Spotify data, you can't really do as much testing as you can on Meta or Google Ads or whatever, or TikTok ads. And also, you can't, like, that data, you can't, like, reapply it to other things, right? And that's, like, a big part of the value
Yep.
of Meta
Ads.
ads to me, is that I can go like, okay, this campaign did really good. Now we have all this data about people who give a shit about our thing. Let's go use that over here. And especially now that ad targeting is changing or whatever, that data has become really, really valuable. And I can't convert that out of Spotify into like other
Yeah.
means.
I have some cool metrics that I'll share real quick about percentage of premium versus free users. I have my label has an Orchard account. So we have a bunch of artists in the Orchard, which breaks down streaming by pre versus premium users, which is cool. So
Mhm.
we have data on what percentage of people in different countries are premium. And Canada and the US are like 85% of streams we got were from premium users.
Huh.
Mexico and Brazil, Mexico was 73%, Brazil 66%, UK 63%, India 22%, and Philippines, I don't have it written down, but I was something in the 20s as well. So yeah, it's like we don't know. That doesn't necessarily indicate the ratio of free to premium users, but I think it's telling of the ratio of premium to free streams.
Yeah,
The
and
premium
active
users.
streamers. Which going back to your point, Jesse, if I'm a business, if I'm
Mhm.
a burger joint in Nashville, and I'm like, hey, am I going to use Spotify ads? I'm sort of advertising to a very disengaged audience,
Mhm.
probably mostly teenagers, which might be good. Like I'm taking it's not kind of a shot in the dark there. People who generally want to listen to music but can't afford it would probably be
Mhm.
teenagers, but overall, you're targeting people who don't have money, or that's disingenuous, who don't wanna spend money on
Yeah.
Spotify.
what we say is like not in the demographic, the people who like really have spending power and can do
Exactly.
things and like are the most effective people to target. The whole reason that
You're
like
such a cheap bastard that you're not willing to spend $12 a month
Oh,
to
yeah,
access
yeah, yeah.
unlimited music from
Yeah.
every artist in the world. Are you gonna buy our product?
But that,
yeah.
but it's a real thing that like you get the best rates. Like so, a good example is like a political podcast gets some of the best advertising rates because the people who listen to political podcasts
Spending power.
usually spend a lot more money than any other demographic. But
And
what's funny
the
is
opposite side would be people who listen to this podcast who are a bunch of broke musicians, right? Is that the
yes,
No, actually, so I've compared my like YouTube analytics, what do they call it? The RPM,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
like
yeah,
revenue
yeah,
per thousand views, and it's actually higher than almost like most
yeah,
creators I know because we're like Jesse's probably the same, but
yeah.
we're in the marketing slash advertising niche, which the ads you can run in that are like a lot of B2B stuff, a lot of business tools, which actually pay very well.
Really?
Whereas if you're like a musician, the RPMs are horrible because you're getting like Dollar Shave Club and Hims and Amazon and
Hmm.
Walmart and stuff instead of like all like MailChimp or something, which would be advertising to business people and music artists, you know?
I often tell people how much money I make from YouTube, they think I'm lying, and I have to show them the phone app because they don't believe. Because then when they're making content for stuff like video games, they're getting very bad
Marvel.
clicks because yeah, exactly, they're
Yeah.
getting much worse. But
Should I
this
start
is
making
all
YouTube content? I've never made
apparently.
any.
The
How
amount of
you've
ad
been making it
revenue
on
they
this podcast.
yeah,
You're like, that's what we're doing right now.
that's what we're doing, right? But, like, even for us, like, and all this stuff, it's like, even that, the YouTube ad revenue is usually, like, a tiny thing for everyone because
Yeah.
everyone like, it's just you it's hard to make a living off of just ad revenue, which is why, like, Spotify, I believe they make the vast majority of the revenue from premium users. The last time I checked, the ad revenue was less than 20% of their
Yeah.
revenue, I think.
That's a lot of what the article talks about is that they basically have devalued this department. So they're doing exactly what TuneCore, CD Baby, DistroKid have all done, which is going fuck customer service. This will make us profitable, and that's why Reddit is a cesspool of just I can't get in touch with customer service even when this terrible thing is happening to me.
They
And
meta
this is the important thing to remember about how a lot of these corporations work, right? Is that the top 1 to 3% of their customers represent the majority of the income. And then the bottom 97% of the customers, who represent much less of the income, cause way more than 97% of the problems, because the top people are like pros dealing with pros, and the bottom people are like amateurs trying to figure it out. So those people will always get screwed, just because you gotta cut costs somewhere sometimes.
Yeah, and you run an ad agency too, Matt. I'm guessing, like in my case, it's probably the
How's
case
your
for you.
customer service?
Are the for us, and I mean, I'm not saying this to call anyone out, but like the customers that typically are the hardest for us to work with are the customers buying the cheapest possible option that we sell, and
God,
the
that's so
bigger
true.
the customers who spend more are typically the easiest to work with in a lot of the
I
cases. And
mean, I do this thing where I raise the price of most of my services on January 1st every year. And every time I raise the price of the services, the company doesn't shrink. Like, I don't really get less clients, but we have less problem clients.
yeah,
All this to say, Spotify ads really do feel like a race to the bottom. And, and obviously, just to be clear, the big advantage of Spotify ads is when we're running meta ads where we're taking someone from Instagram over to Spotify, we're essentially tracking that by getting them through a landing page, right? And we're tracking the people who click through the landing page, and we're optimizing for those people. And that's great. And that works, right? Andrew and I built careers off of that. But we don't have exact one-to-one metrics. We can send you screenshots. We can show you like, okay, like this kicked in and it fucking went. Like, come on, bro.
yeah,
But we don't have one-to-one metrics. You know, Spotify does give you that one-to-one metric mostly.
It's just so interesting because you would think if you had like, what is better advertising than on the place people listen to music, playing them a 30, 15-second snippet of your song and going, do you like this? Just click this and you could hear it. Seems like it would be the greatest spend for money of all time. And yet, seemingly, this has been fucked up for so many years.
Again, it used to
yeah.
actually work. I remember running these ads, and I could target specific genres, and it was like exactly what you just said.
You
And
could say I want to literally show my ads to fans of this artist. Like
Mm.
the
yeah,
targeting is amazing.
yeah, and so it used to work, and it stopped, and I just think it's because they were introducing Showcase and Marquee, and I don't think they wanna control their music ecosystem, and I don't think that they want musicians running ad studio, and so instead of just saying, "Hey, musicians, you can't do this," I think that they have put their thumb on the weight, and
Mm.
they're like, "Why are you over here? This sucks. Go to Marquee, go to Showcase," and because they have their whole thing is pumping that into radio algorithm and saving so much money between that and discovery. Their algorithm went from something that they spend money on to something that makes them money. And so I think that not to get conspiratorial, but if I was running that business, that's 100% what I would do.
Yeah.
But also, for the record, have you guys had success with Showcase and Marquee ads?
I
Yeah,
mean, I
They're pretty
think for a
good.
certain
Yeah.
clientele that it, with that lever, my thing is always this: is if you put it on, show it to people who don't listen to my music, you're usually going to be disappointed. If you put it somewhere in the middle of, uh, send this to my pre-existing audience, you're usually going to go, that was pretty decent money spent, but everybody has a different level of cheapness dash ROI in their head.
Yeah,
I
they're
use it as
expensive.
like a supplemental tool. Like I
Yeah.
Yeah.
usually don't like don't drop a grand on it. Do like $100 test, see what happens. If it seems favorable, do a little bit more. And yeah,
Dude, I worked with a label, an indie label that they didn't even tell us that we're gonna do this. They dropped 15 grand on every single drop. And just an insane don't do that. But here's the
one of my
thing.
clients dropped 7 grand in a single, and I was like, "What are you doing? Our ad budget's like 3 grand. Why didn't you tell me about this?" But
Yeah, if you have 15 grand, oh my God, can I do some damage? Do not spend
Yeah.
that all. We had like a same thing. We had like a 3 grand for Meta, and then 15 grand she just poured into this song on a marquee. But I was very curious about the data. I was like, "Oh, let me look at it." And it did. I mean, it messed with the algorithm in a really great way. So it did not 15 grand worth of damage, but it was very interesting to see.
Well, yeah,
the
but
reason why I don't like it instead of like the ads or anything is because like if you run that money in ads, you get not just Spotify, but all these other platforms, and then you get
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook. And so even if it's apples to apples cost, which the ads are usually much cheaper, but like even if they are the same, you get all these secondary benefits that you
Yep.
don't get when you're giving it directly to Spotify.
And the big secondary benefit is just more data
Yep.
and
Across the
more.
internet.
Yeah.
And you own.
And that's really
Own.
what drives me crazy is it's like, and also for the record, I don't know about you, Andrew, but like we consistently are able to beat Marquee and Showcase ads with our campaigns because again, because really the thing to understand is that with Marquee and Showcase ads, kind of as I experience them, you're kind of just going like this much money in, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And
There's no
with
levers to press. It's like countries,
exactly,
and that's really it.
yeah, exactly. And
But hold on. You could beat them by streams or by increasing stream per listener.
We beat them in terms of like cost per listener acquired.
But what about
Yeah.
quality? Because I think
Yeah,
quality.
Also,
the-
we
see-
beat
see,
them in
I-
quality by
yeah.
a massive margin, surprisingly.
Really?
Like with
Well,
Showcase and
because we're getting
Marquee,
paid people.
with Showcase and Marquee, you don't get to hear the song before you click on the ad. With Meta, you do. So if you get the same acquisition cost, they've already heard the song. And so like Showcase, they're literally seeing the artwork and then clicking. And usually like I consider a good save rate or a good intent rate actually to be like 15 to 20% from Showcase and Marquee. But for ads, it's like 50 plus. So I'm expecting a 4 to 5 times better engagement with the Meta than the Showcase Marquee in particular.
What I generally find is like what I really when the people I know who are most likely to really like what Showcase and Marquee did for them is somebody who hasn't been releasing for a while and needs to make their audience aware that
Mhm.
they are releasing again. It's particularly on a lead single. That's where I see the greatest satisfaction of what we get, and we don't turn that lever up very high in the budget. Like if it's like you could spend $15,000, it's more close to $2,000 at most. If like
You're talking
they
for
were,
retargeting too, right?
I'm talking about literally just to the pre-existing audience on Showcase and Marquee.
I found for an artist that has like a big passive listening audience,
Mhm.
that retargeting campaigns in there can be like pretty fire to like
Mm.
reactivate people or take them from like a passive audience to an active audience. Cause like they give you that breakdown, they show you like how many I forget what they call them, but passive listeners that get turned into active listeners in that graph. And if you have a big pool of people, it can actually be pretty dope because you can't retarget in meta ads the people that have heard you on Spotify radio, but you can do that on Showcase and Marquee. So
Well,
there are applications when it's game changing.
that's kind of what I meant by quality. And your measure quality is much more mathematic and accurate. But in my mind, I think about it from like, I get this cold audience and then I need to re-engage them. And of course I can retarget them on Meta. But man, when I retarget when, on Spotify, it does seem to click a little better. But it's only the people that have engaged once. I do not like the cold outreach through Marquee. I feel like that's pretty ineffective.
Yeah, the retargeting in those platforms is definitely like the engagement gets to another level compared. But the cold one, it's that like 15 to 20% intent rate, which is like saves plus playlist ads, which is
Yeah.
pretty weak.
But you're right. It's such a good point. Like, if you can't hear, literally all you have to go by is like, is that album art cool? Like, that's
and like
it.
this is why it never made sense to me because I always felt like, but that's not like that's why like there's definitely record like album art can definitely impact streams, right? And like it could definitely impact you to check out a record. We've all had that experience as a kid where we saw a record and we were like, this looks dope, right? But also like I don't fucking see how that works at all.
Well, when you have an infinite choice of what to listen to of everything you've ever liked, just seeing that, it's one thing which I will say too, I never have happened, and I get Marquee and Showcase constantly served to me. I never am like, oh, I've heard about that group. I've been wanting to listen to this. It's
Yeah.
always, who the fuck is this?
Yep. Except I always click on it because I'm like, well, I gotta know. Like, to me, it's like
You're literally just charging that artist like 30.
I listen to it though. I listen. I
Oh,
Oh, you
genuinely
listen to it?
listen
Okay, never mind. That's fine. I thought you were just like, I see it and I'm like, fuck you.
It's
and then
like
click
it's like a mystery box of music. I want to know.
that's probably a good insight into the types of people that click them because like people click
True.
them and I see the engagement and stuff and
You're like,
I've,
who's
you know,
clicking on this shit?